am going and I'm just initializing my repository. Okay, cool. So can anyone tell me, guys, help me with, is this a Git repository? How do I check?
Git
Git
status.
status, correct? Or even Git log, right? So any Git command, if you execute, it will tell you, correct, whether this is a Git repository or not. And as it is evident, this is not a Git repository, correct, guys? So how can I create a Git repository? Git init. All right. Okay, so it says initialize an empty Git repository. Cool. Here, what is my working directory and what is my actual local repository? This is my actual Git repository. This is where Git will store everything, right? Correct. So this .git folder, Git repository actually, right? But in real life, you may hear many people, you know, just call the same folder as a Git repository, right? And a reason is because whenever you initialize a Git repository, this .git folder gets created in the same directory as a subdirectory, right? So that's why. But yeah, technically you should know this is your working directory and this is your actually a Git repository, which is a single source of truth for Git, right? Cool. So by default, look at it. If you say git status right now, what it is saying, my repository is clean, correct? And how can I check how many branches are there? Git branch. Okay. But do you see, it's not giving me any output. And why is that? Despite you can see this message here in this git status, right? It says on branch master and there are no commits yet, right? Yeah, it will say that as a status, but in reality, when is your first default branch? Which is your default branch? Master.
Master.
So when does it will get created? On the first commit, not whenever you will commit. On the first commit, it will get created, right? Cool. So guys, I mean, all these scenarios, you should practice when you are practicing, right? Cool. So I'm just creating my first file. Okay. And here is my first file. Cool. I'm just putting down some text. This is feature one. Okay. Saving that. Cool. And now uh, I want to go ahead and I want to commit it. How can I commit this? So git and then add. And so in our case, we do have only one file. Let's say if we have multiple files, then I'm adding it, adding feature one, and we have committed. Cool. And if you see now, get status, yeah, everything is good. So how can I verify if our commit has actually been made? Git log, correct? So you will see like the commit ID. This is your unique SHA ID, which is basically we refer to as a commit ID, who committed this and when it got committed and your commit message, right? So instead of looking at this long output, you can also prefer to see in one line by using this switch git log hyphen hyphen one line. Okay. And it will actually give you the commit ID. So basically commit ID, either you can refer to this complete string or first 7 character would be sufficient enough. Okay. 7 or 8 characters should be sufficient enough. So it is just giving you the first, what, 7 characters, right? That's what it is. Cool. And it will give you only selected information, commit ID and your message. Okay. Cool. Now let's say uh, we are going ahead, we are doing everything, right? We are adding so many files, creating commits, but probably sometimes there might be a scenario where we do some kind of rough work or some temporary work, right? For example, very popularly, we can go and we can just put down test.txt or todo.txt I would like to create, right? So this to-do.txt, practically speaking, it is not a part of our project, but this is something, it's for my reference. What all tasks I want to do for today, just as a temporary work. So probably I may put down like, okay, share and update email with team. These are my to-do tasks, right? So let's say uh, create artifacts and whatever like to do task I had, right? So I'm just saving this file in the same working directory, but at the same time, do you think it should be part of our project? No, it is just temporary work which I am doing for my own reference, right? But practically speaking, as it is in the same directory, whenever you do anything, Git will keep reminding you, right? Oh, this to do file is on track, this to do file is on track, correct? So in this case, it is just one file. You may have a directory or several files. Then every time Git will keep probing you, keep reminding you that these files are untracked. Correct? And practically speaking, we don't want these files to be committed in a repository because those are not related to project in any way. So what can we do? We can ask Git to ignore these kind of files or directories or subdirectories, right? And how can we instruct Git to ignore something? By creating this file dot gitignore. File name must be dot gitignore with no extension. Okay, dot gitignore. So I'm just creating this file. Okay, and once you create this file, what you need to do, you need to put all the files and the directories one by one in this file which you want Git to ignore, right? For example, in this case, to do.txt. This is one of the file. Assume I also had a test directory. Then I will put something like this. Ignore this test directory. Also ignore the content of test directory. Something like this. Okay. Or you can even use some sort of cron expressions. For example, you want to ignore all the temp or executable files in the current directory. So how can I put star.exe or star.tmp, whatever is the extension. So all the files which has this extension or matches this expression will be ignored by Git. Got it? Okay. So in our case, we only had to do.txt. So I'm saving this. Okay. And make sure what I told you, file name should be .gitignore and no extensions, nothing else, right? But as I have created this with Notepad, by default, this .txt extension get attached. So I will just rename this file .gitignore.txt to .gitignore. Okay, you see, it's only .gitignore now. And now just commit this file. Okay, just like any other normal file, just commit this file. Okay, but if you look at before committing, if you look at the status, look at this. As you have created .gitignore, Git is only telling you about gitignore. Is it reminding you about to-do.txt anymore? Not at all, right? So just add it .gitignore and let's say git commit, adding gitignore file, right? That's all. So this gitignore. So now let's proceed. So let's say uh, let's look at the another scenario. Cool. Now think about this, guys. Let's say you are working on some certain feature or some certain, you know, some certain code, new code you're writing down. Okay, which is not finished yet. Correct. So let's say I am just working on this feature too. Let's say feature2 dot txt. Okay. And cool. So I'm working on this. This is feature 2 and it is not finished yet. Okay. It's work in progress. Now, all of a sudden, something has been broken on your production environment, or there is some urgency that you need to switch your work. Your CTO, your product manager, your team leader comes to you and says that, you know what, whatever you are doing, stop it. We have something else to be fixed on immediate basis. It happens in day-to-day life, right? So I'm working and someone came and someone just interrupted. No, no, stop doing this. You need to work on something else. Perfect. Good. But now, what should I do with these changes? I mean, is it completed? No. If you look at the Git status, Git doesn't bother about whether it is completed or not, isn't it? Git will just tell you this file is untracked, correct? So now what should I do? Should I go and should I commit this? No.
No.
And why should why should I refrain myself from committing this? It's not completed, but I can still go and I can still commit it, right? So no one is working. Let's say I will commit this, right? I will commit in my local repository. I will work on something else. I will commit another stuff, and I will again come back to this file, keep working on this, and once it is finished, I will make third commit. What's wrong in that? Technically, can't we do or not? Now the question is, why shouldn't we do this? You have been through this scenario, isn't it? So the answer is commits are not something. Yes, commit is meant, technically you can commit at any given point in time, right? But commit is something logically when you commit it, whenever some feature, some meaningful work is done in terms of some milestone, right? You completed some milestone, you completed some feature, you completed some module, right? Something you complete, then you commit it, right? Why is that? Reason reason when you go and when you look at the history, you will, if you keep committing like anything without any logical points or without any logical milestone, if you keep committing, it will unnecessarily create a chaos. What kind of chaos? Let's say if you want to roll back something, do you know which commit to roll back then? No, correct. And if you have half work or partial, if you're committing partial work every now and then in future, whenever you want to roll back to any specific point, will you be able to roll back successfully to any specific point? Probably no, right? So always try to make sure that you are creating a logical milestones, right? This is exactly the reason we shouldn't commit. Practically, we shouldn't commit not finished work or undone or probably work in progress. We shouldn't commit that, right? That's the logical reason behind it. You can say it's as a best practice. Okay. But the thing is what now? What should I do with this? Should I remove this file so that Git won't keep me reminding? Should I do that? If it is just one line of code we are referring to, we can even remove that file. Okay. But if there are more lines, then what should we do? Should I like cut this file from here and keep it somewhere else? Yes, in case of one file, you can even move this file outside of this directory, which is okay. But you may have multiple changes. You may have multiple files which are edited and which haven't been committed yet. Yes or no? So you cannot move multiple files, keep a track of it manually. It will be overhead. So that's exactly why Git provides us another feature, which is stash. Okay, stash. So now what do we mean by stash? Yesterday, you looked out for working directory. That was one of the thing which we looked at, correct? Now this is working directory. Then another thing was staging area. And third thing was the local repo. Where is your file right now, or where are your files, or where is your work in progress as of now? In working directory, correct? And that's why Git is reminding us about it. So what we can do, we can move that unfinished work to staging area first. Okay, in this case, this feature2.txt, we should move that to where? To staging area first. All right. And once it is in staging area, right? Moving to staging area means what? Git knows what files are there, right? Because that's where Git is using the staging area to remember everything, right? So move this file to staging area, and now Git also has another specific storage which is outside of your working directory, staging area, and local repository, outside of all these three things. And this is what we say stash memory or stash area. Now what you can do, now once whatever changes you have in staging area, you can simply move all those files to this stash. Okay, to this stash. Got it? So that what will happen? Do you have any edited file or any unfinished work here now? No. So you can keep now working on other changes if you want to, right? It will be neat and clean. You can finish that work, and whenever you want, you can bring all these unfinished changes from this stash area to your working directory. So look at it, how I'm going to do this. So first, we have this unfinished work, right? So first thing, we need to move that to staging area. How can we move that to staging area? Git add, and this is the file, correct? If you have multiple files, you will specify multiple files. If you have many files, just use dot, correct? You know that. So now it has been moved to staging area. Now what I will do, now from this staging area, if I have to just move that to my stash area, how can I do that? Just by doing git stash add. Oh, just git stash. That's all. Not add, just git stash. Okay. Now, if you look at it, we haven't given any kind of message while moving these changes to git stash, right? And that's exactly why whatever last commit message was there, it is just using that. Okay, so don't get confused. It's the default behavior. Okay, now if you want to see how many changes you can push to your stash memory, as many changes as you want. Okay, as many changes as you want. So how can I go and how can I look at the list? How many changes are there in my stash? Simple git stash list, and it will give you all these things, the list of things. So indexing will start from 0. So at 0th position, which changes you have? These which you just pushed. Okay, and just like that. So you can just look at the list. All right. Now, now if you want to bring the, I mean, let's say now look at your directory, git status. You see, there is nothing. Your working directory is clean. So now you can go and you can just create another file. You can keep working. For example, I'm just adding another feature. Okay. Feature3.txt. Let's say this is feature 3. Save it. close it. I'm again going to add, right? And commit this. Let's say adding feature 3. Okay, my work is okay. Whatever other work I wanted to do, now that is done. Correct? So we are good. And now you want to go back to your unfinished work. Okay, you want to go back to your unfinished work. Okay, so how can we go back? So just retrieve whatever changes you want from your stash. Okay, so look at it. How can I see my changes in the stash? Git stash list, right? And there might be 4 or 5 changes you might have kept in the stash. So now if you want to retrieve the first change, 0th one, the command would be git stash pop. Okay, and by default it will retrieve the first change. Okay, but let's say you don't want to retrieve the first change, you want to retrieve, let's say, third or fourth change. Fine, then in that case what you can do, you can just copy this part. Okay, stash at the rate in curly braces 0, just copy that id or whichever change you want and just put in front of this git stash pop and the id of the change which you want to pop. Okay, if you don't specify, then by default it will retrieve the first one. Got it? And again, remember one thing, once you retrieved it from the stash, your stash would be empty. That will be also removed from the stash. Now when you stashed this file, from where you stashed it, guys? From where you stashed it? From your staging area, correct? So it has been also retrieved to your staging area, right? So now if you want, you can directly commit this file, or let's say if you want to continue working on this, then what you can do, you can simply say git restore and you can say staged and the file name, meaning what? It would be, look at it, you see, it would be brought back to your working directory, and you can now keep modifying this file, and once you are finished, you can just add to stage, you can stage this file and you can simply commit it back. Cool. So we talked about several things, huh? Stash, staging the file, unstaging the file, right? Popping the changes from stash and adding changes to stash. Okay, cool. So now if you look at git log, so you see there are like couple of files. Okay, couple of 3 commits we have did. Perfect. All right. So now, okay, we still have this file to be committed, right? So let's commit that. I'm committing it. Okay, cool. Now let's say let's go ahead. Now let's say um, we are just adding or we are doing something. Okay, let's just for the simplicity, let's say I'm adding a readme file, readme.txt. Okay, and what I'm putting down in this readme file, just the information about the project or how to run the project or whatever instructions I want to pass on, right? So I'm just putting this down. So let's say this is a sample project. You can run this project using um, npm version 13, right? And something like that. Okay. And I am committing this file. Okay. And as soon as I committed, someone came to me and someone said that, you know what? this readme file contain wrong instructions. This is basically not an npm. This is like different project. You whatever instructions you have added in this readme file, those are wrong. So what can I do with these guys now? So this change is like something I mistakenly committed this. What can I do with this? Look at it now. Git log, one line. You see, I have what, four, five commits now, right? And this readme. Uh, what you want to do with this now? Like modify the file again and commit it one more time, is it? So, um, what one of the option we can do is what? Obviously, git revert, right? Git revert. Now look at this. What you want to revert? This file, right? This commit you want to revert, right? So one of the ways very simple. Look at it. Git revert and provide your commit ID. What's your commit ID? Which commit ID we want to revert? Starting from CFP, right? So either you can use that complete long string as I said, or you can simply get this first seven characters like this. Okay. So I'm saying git revert and I'm just going ahead and just putting this down, right? Okay. Or let's do this way. First, let me show you something. Let's assume I'm doing, I'm going ahead and modifying this file normal way. Okay. So, uh, okay, npm 13. So mistakenly, let's say I will put down Java version 17. Okay. And now I'm going ahead and adding this file one more time. Modifying readme. Okay. Right. So you see, so now I have modified my changes, correct? I mean, now the readme file is correct, but I am afraid of my TL or project manager. You see, logs are clearly telling you that I made a mistake, correct? So what can I do? So let's say I want to revert now. Okay, so how to revert? Let's say this commit I want to revert. Okay, so if you see git revert and give the commit ID. Cool, right? And as soon as you execute this revert, it will tell you to put down the message so that you can understand, right? Revert. So modifying readme. So revert modifying readme is the default message. If you want to put any other message, just modify this message and put down your whatever revised message you want to, right? And simply close it. Cool. And you see, if you look at your readme file now, uh, has it been reverted? Cool. And if you look at your log now, oh, uh, now it's more problem. You see, it created a history that I tried to revert it. Basically, I reverted it, isn't it? It is even telling to all the world that I reverted it. Basically, why I wanted to revert? Because I was afraid. I didn't want it to leave any like history behind, correct? So basically, what happens here, guys? The default nature of revert is what? Soft revert, meaning it will go and it will just keep a track of it. Okay, understood? So this is how git revert works. It will leave you the history so that you have a solidified history. Got it? Now, let's say um, There is another way to, undo the changes. Okay. What is that? Do you know git reset? Have you heard about it? So revert will revert the changes, right? But what it will do, it will create a new commit and it will maintain the history. Okay. Now there's another way to undo the changes, which is git reset. Okay. Git reset. Now understand. Let's say I want to reset this commit, modifying or reverting, right? I want to reset this. Okay. All right. How can I do that? Just like this, git reset and the commit ID. Cool. And if you look at your history now, mm, okay. Here's the file. It's look exactly the same. Now let me just reset. Let's say this commit ID. Cool. So if you look at it, log, right? You see, if you want to remove this, then reset your git to the previous commit. I mean, whichever commit. In this case, we have provided which commit ID? This commit ID, correct? So it will remove all the commits till now from history. Got this? It will remove all the commits till the commit ID which you have mentioned in the reset. From history, it will remove. Look at it. Can you see that this commit anymore now in the history, in the
No.
logs? That's the default nature of git reset. However, however, if you look at git status, do you see? So whatever changes has been removed as a part of this commit, whatever changes has been removed, it will not delete those changes. The default nature of git reset is this, and what we say it as an soft reset.
Yeah.
It will remove the history, it will remove the commit, but it will retain the changes to give you an opportunity to retain whatever changes you want to retain, despite it has removed the commit. So what I'm doing one more time, I'm going ahead and I'm just committing it as it is with those three dots. Okay. All right. Look at your log. New commit ID has been created now, correct? And your readme, as we have committed it as it is, it still contains those three dots, right? But now what I want to reset to the previous commit, but this time I not only want to remove the trail of this commit, but I am damn sure that I want to remove the changes as well to
Okay.
whatever
Yeah.
files. Then in that case, we will do git reset. Again, we'll specify the commit ID. Okay. And this time we will pass one switch, hard reset. Now what hard reset will do, it will not only remove the commits, but respective changes from respective files as well. Okay. So if you look at your log now, you see commit is gone, that AFD. At the same time, if you look at your readme file, those three dots are gone now.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what git reset is.
Okay.
Hard and soft. All right. Now look at it. I mean, what's happening now? So if you look at my history, I mean, look at my git log. There are, I mean, don't you think like this modifying readme, this again, readme, there might be some, all these unnecessary commits might have been done. Correct? Right? Let me just commit one more time something. Let's say notepad, readme. Again, I'm opening that file. I'm saying, no, my original changes were okay. NPM 13, right? That was okay. This is wrong. Okay. And now again, I'm going and creating a commit. Okay. So now if you look at the git log, I mean, see, when initially we added this readme, it has the exact same content. Then we modified, couple of commit has happened, and the final commit we landed up with the same content which we had here, isn't it? So let's say, do we really need this commit and this commit? Practically speaking, is there any change from this commit to this commit? No, right? So these commits are unnecessarily has been done, right? So if you have this kind of scenario where multiple commits have happened and you want to merge all of them, right? Or basically we call that as a you want to rebase your git repository, then you can use another command which is git rebase. Okay, git rebase. Now, what is the latest commit that we have? This one, correct? 9EC. This commit is the latest one. Now, where we want to rebase to this commit, correct? Yes. So
Yes.
how many head we are referring to? One, two, and three, correct? So how should we rebase? Simple. Git rebase head and give three. How many counts? How many count from three? Head. Okay, hold on. Okay, git log one line git rebase hyphen I interactively and head and three. Yeah. Okay, I was just missing this interactive. Okay, so cool. So you see what all things you can do with rebase. So first, look at it. You can, if you want, you can revert a commit. I mean, you can modify the commit ID, right? How you can modify, let's say for this commit, you want to modify the commit ID, then use revert or R. Like instead of pick, you can say revert or R and modify this commit ID. Okay. I mean, this commit message, it will modify your commit message. Okay. Or let's say you want to, edit it. Okay, you can use E for that, right? And something like this. But now here, what I want to this sequence you can see it is giving you in the reverse order. So this is the latest, this is second latest, and the third latest. So what I want to squash for S. Okay, meaning what? Use commit and meld it or merge it into previous commit. So this commit I want to squash, I want to merge. This commit also I want to squash, I want to merge. And where? Pick this commit means use this commit to merge all these commits wherever I have mentioned squash. Okay. So I'm just writing down P for pick, and that's all. Close it. Cool. And now it will bring you another file just to give you, the if you want to modify the commit ID. I mean commit message. I'm not interested in modifying it. Okay. So just saving it. Cool. And my repository has been successfully rebased. If you look at logs now, do you see? Do you see, guys? It has created a new commit using all these three commits now. And this is the new commit with the message adding readme, which we have given. And if you
Yes.
look readme file,
Mhm.
this is how your readme file looks like. Exactly the same. But now your Git history is much more cleaner compared to the previous one. Everyone understood this, guys? Git ignore, git stash, git revert, git reset, git rebase. Clear?